Okay, good morning to all and welcome to BL Conversations. Today we are going to be discussing a very important aspect, basically about how things have been around the ethanol story. I mean, the ethanol story has been something which has created a lot of concerns for people. E20 at the pump, lower mileage, older cars, and what comes next. With me is my guest for today, a dear friend and a very enlightened auto industry. You can say somebody who's been there, done everything. Former director of electric mobility and clean energy at Niti Aayog and founder CEO of 4C Advisors, Mr. Randeep Singh. He's an electrical engineer from NIT and MBA from IIM Calcutta. And you can also say that he is the architect of India's battery solving policy. Before joining Niti Aayog, he was director. When he joined Niti Aayog as e-mobility director, he's also worked with management positions in Daimler, MAN Truck, and also in Volkswagen Group. And he's also been responsible for bringing out the light electric EV charging standards, which were published in 21. And I welcome Randir. Randir, welcome, and thanks for joining BL Conversations. Randir, are you able to hear me? Randir, are you able to hear me, Randir? Yeah, hi, this is Amit Moine, Deputy Editor of Hindu Business Line. Randir Singh from Niti Aayog, former Director Electric Mobility of Niti Aayog is with us. Thank you, Randir. Can you hear me? Uh, I think Randir is having an audio issue and he's rejoining. Hi, Randir. Welcome to BL Conversations. And this is Amit Moile, Deputy Editor of Hindu Business Line. And today we're going to be discussing a very important aspect of E20 at the pump, where I think a lot of, like, I own three petrol cars and I'm also facing a lower mileage with my older cars. And I think what's going to be coming next, I think, but today, I think every Indian is concerned that what happens to my car if the E20, you can say the blending increases, it goes to E30. So Randir, I broadly want to introduce you and saying that Randir has spent more than 2.5 to 3 decades in the auto industry as a former director of electric mobility and clean energy at Niti Aayog, and now as founder and CEO of 4C Advisors. He's an electrical engineer from NIT and MBA from IIM Calcutta, and you can really say that he's been the author of and the architect of India's battery swapping policy when he was there at Niti. And before joining Niti as the e-mobility director, he was also for 12 years in the corporate sector in the auto industry, having worked in senior management positions in Daimler, MAN Truck, and also with the Bus India, which is a Volkswagen India group company. He's also been instrumental in bringing out India's light EV charging standards published in 21. I welcome you, Randir, to Hindu Business Line and to BL Conversations. Thank you for your valuable time and actually taking time out and educating our readers. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation, Randir. Over to you.
Th- Thank you, Amit. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Right, right. So I think what's the conversation about today? I think the broad conversation about today is the E20 has moved from policy to the petrol pump into your car, into my car, into so many two-wheelers. And the question now is that when I'm willing to trade my old car, should I buy a petrol car today? I must tell you that the latest trends indicate that the waiting periods for CNG and EVs has gone up from say 1 month to about 3 to 4 months. That's for even for two wheelers and also for cars. And I think consumers are really worried that when I buy my petrol car next, what happens tomorrow? Also, there are some concerns with people who are already owning older petrol vehicles. Yes, can I continue with E20 without having to worry if my parts are going to damaged? Why has my mileage changed, and what should I do if my vehicle develops a problem? And also, there's a long-term question that a car or two-wheeler bought today, would it remain on Indian roads? I mean, everybody today buys a car and at least keeps it up 4 to 5 years. So, I mean, what should I do? Should I sell my petrol car? What's going to happen in the used car market? Is it going to get a lower value? So that's why the conversation will look through E20 through the eyes of the car and two-wheeler owners, and also examine why India is pursuing lower ethanol crude oil dependence and greater energy security and the development of a domestic biofuel economy where the consumer is getting impacted and he's concerned. So, Randhir, I would open the conversation with you, and broadly, you can sum up for our readers, and as what's happening. I mean, there is concern, there is anxiety, and maybe you can just help our readers to understand what they should be doing now. I mean, should they sell their petrol vehicles? Should they buy EVs? Should they buy a CNG car? I mean, it's too dense right now. So, please, thank you.
Amit, first of all, thank you for having me here. In fact, I would start by lowering the temperature. The ethanol is neither a bad fuel nor a magic fuel. It is renewable. It is domestically produced, which we all know. It has an octane number of around 108 against roughly 91 for Indian base gasoline. And it burns cleaner, lower carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and particulates. It also carries about one third less energy per liter than petrol. It attracts water, it behaves differently with certain rubbers and plastic. So the engineering question is never is ethanol good or bad? It is what blend, in what vehicle, designed to what specifications, with what fuel quality, with what transition arrangements for the vehicles that are already on the road. So India has done something genuinely difficult. That is what I can say. Blending was 1.5% in 2014. It is 20% today. 5 years ahead of the original. The target was 2030, and 5 years ahead, then we have implemented at 20% in all the pumps. Since 2014 to 15, the program has, from the government figures perspective, around saved around 1.97 lakh crore in foreign exchange. That's what the government says. Displaced roughly 316 lakh tons of crude and paid 1.66 lakh crore to farmers. With the West Asia crisis pushing, Delhi pet is now past 100. The case for having one fifth of every insulated from Brent is not an abstraction, but good energy policy also has to manage the installed base. We have around 190 million petrol vehicles. These are on the roads. And roughly 120 million of them were bought before E20 compliant arrived in April 2023. So vehicle is not bought for one policy cycle, right? It stays on the road for 10 to 15 years. That means 3 to 4 policy cycles. That is the conversation worth having today, not for or against ethanol, but how the transition is engineered around the fleet. Uh,
Yeah, I completely
you all,
welcome that, Randir. I mean, completely welcome that. And broadly, for our readers today and for our subscribers today and people who are watching you live, you can tell them, I mean, for people who have bought a new car maybe 3 years back, 2, 3 years back, I mean, they are E20 certified. But what happens to the majority of the belly of the market where it's not just cars, also two wheelers. I mean, today there are two wheelers, there are also some, you can say, vehicles which have been there since say 1980. I mean, 1980, very old cars people
yes,
have
yes.
preserved. So, I mean, what is your advice to them? What should they be doing now? I mean, today, or as a government, and as somebody who's been in on the government side, do you see that there's something coming for them to hold on to their vehicle, or maybe you can give the advice?
So there are two questions around it. One is if you already have the older vehicle, which is before April 2023, which has been bought, which is not E20 compatible, what should they do? And the second question might be what if they are buying the vehicle now, whether they should be worried or not. So let me first answer the question of older vehicles, the people who are already having the older vehicles. whether they need to be worried, what they should do. So I think my answer would be aware, not alarmed. Let me state the evidence honestly. First of all, as a at a mass level, there is no widespread engine failure from E20. Service data is very large and consistent. Maruti and others have already given. IIT Kanpur has come out with the engine lab that there is no damage internationally. US Department of Energy, they ran the blind program, ran 86 vehicles for roughly 10 million kilometers, and on blends up to E20, and found no increased wear and tear. But the second half is absence of widespread failure is not the same as every old vehicle having been designed, calibrated, and material certified for E20, which is this is not the case. Those are two different statements. And 2021 Niti Aayog roadmap itself was candid about it. Metals were fine,
Okay.
but certain elastomers and polymers like NBR, PVC blends, epichlorohydrin, PA66 in some tests performed worse with E20 than with the baseline fuel. In fact, Dr. Anjan Ray, former director of CSIR IIP, wrote in Nature India on 4th August that seals, gaskets, and components not designed for higher blends remain an area of concern, and that many post 2020 E10 vehicles probably have enough margin, but only the manufacturer can confirm that for a specific model. So, for an owner of a 2016 or 2019 vehicle, three practical things. One is check what your manufacturer says for your model and year. The fuel lid label, the fuel lid where you open, just behind that there is written.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
owner's manual and the OEM's current published guidance. And ask in writing if it is unclear. Second thing is service the fuel system on schedule at an authorized workshop, not at a roadside garage. So Dr. Ray's advice is sensible that way. A one-time proper service that checks hoses, gaskets, injectors, and lets the ECU also adapt because now it's electrical control unit. All of them needs to be adapt. This resolves engine level issues. And watch for the change from the vehicle's normal behavior, like hard starting, rough idle, misfire, fuel smell, visible seepage at hoses, a persistent check engine light, or a mileage drop that is repeatable across several tankfuls, then I think it's these are the things which needs to be washed, and it might be linked with the change in the fuel reason. But one thing I should
Yeah,
point out here is,
yeah.
Amit, so one bad tankful is not ethanol damage.
Acha.
One bad, but the repeated one can be, because one bad tankful can be a water contamination, tired fuel pump, a clogged filter, or an ignition fault, which produce identical symptoms. So first is the diagnosis. Figure out if it is happening the repeatedly. I just pointed out few of the things which needs to be watched from the vehicle's normal behavior.
So great. I mean, but also government is now coming up with E10, and I think should E10 become available, I think majority of the 23 vehicles are still E10 compliant, and people will be paying more. So do you think this kind of treatment to the customer, where you want to do things with the country, but then the customer who's actually paying road tax, he's paying the GST, is doing everything to support the government by the time of purchase, during the life cycle also is getting impacted. So I mean, uh, from being on the government side, from what you're hearing, do you really see some relief coming to the consumer and his anxiety regarding E20 getting essayed in that sense?
Uh, Amit, so there are few facts I should actually point out here. One is E20 has been the only regular petrol at Indian pumps since April 2026. First April 2026, whatever regular petrol you are getting, it is E20. Because MOPNG has directed all public and the private oil marketing companies to set petrol with the 20% ethanol at a minimum RON of 95. This is one. Second, BIS has also notified IS 19850/2026 which has specifications of E22, E25, E27, E30 also in May 2022. And Minister of State Mr. Suresh Gopi has told the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha both that no decision has been taken to go beyond 20%. So for this BIS, let's consider as of now only for the E20, right? Uh,
Right, right,
now comes your question about the E10. Whether the question is now live, I would say yes, it is. It looks like a live inside the government because CEA, Mr. Anant Nageshwaram and Akash Pujari in Indian Express, in fact, on 17th August, they argued for restoring E10 as a protection fuel for an
right.
estimated 75 to 80 million older two-wheelers, while keeping E20 as the standard. After that, Indian Express reported that MOPNG has begun feasibility talks with OMCs. In fact, for a short duration, BPCL CMD Mr. Khanna also said that no decision has been taken, that E20 is not being replaced, and that switching a grade is easy, but supplying two grades simultaneously across the
Yes,
network is actually a real challenge. It would be a logistical mayhem. So, but the government has clearly said, Mr. Gopi has said in the Rajya Sabha on 10th of August that parallel E0, E10 or E20 supply chains across, all the outlets will be a logistical mayhem. So I would say as of now, I don't see government budging on this. We have the premium petrol available, which is like XP 100, Power 100, Speed 100, which are ethanol free, but their total sales is around less than 0.5% of petrol sales, and the price is around 160 per liter.
60 plus. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I don't think E10 we will see next to E20 anytime soon. I don't think so.
But I was watching a very interesting Instagram reel where it said that if you have to fill 30 liters and you still want to improve the mileage, you go and
Makes
buy
it.
that. Yeah,
Uh,
you buy 10
but
liters of that and buy a 10 liters of the higher grade petrol and you put E20 and still you get E10. Possible?
but you have to understand, right? It's not the simple blending that you mix this and you mix this and the blending happen and then you are ready to go. You have to understand that whenever you are doing things at your end, what you are doing is sometimes you are providing your vehicle E10, sometimes E5, sometimes E15, sometimes E20. So, how will you keep a tab on your vehicle itself that what type of fuel you are putting in your vehicle, right? How do you measure your mileages? How will you measure that whatever changes in your vehicles are happening, if some faults are happening in your vehicle, it is because of the fuel, because of your mixing or something else? How your ECU is going to adapt to your fuel type? It is not going to adapt to your fuel type at all. So I mean, uh, as a layman, we can say कि आप ऐसे कर लो वैसे कर लो, but uh, you know, talking from the automotive and the engineering
Yes.
perspective, I don't think that
Yeah.
that's gonna make sense for your vehicle.
Also, another interesting thing that we've been seeing is that the rise of strong hybrids, and today people have been even seen that strong hybrids have also back in the consideration. What is going to be the impact on the strong hybrid engine of E20, and do you think E20 will create, or is it creating similar issues for strong hybrid vehicles?
Uh, so I would say, see, the vehicles which have come after April 2026, there's going to be no issue in them as far as the E20 is concerned, because all of those vehicles are E20 ready, E20 compatible, and E20 fine-tuned also. So there are basically two things when I say E20 ready or E20 fine-tuned. See, we have to understand what I just for a couple of seconds I just digress from the topic. Uh, there are two concepts. One is E20 fine-tuned and E20 compatible. So when some vehicles are E20 ready, those are the vehicles which will not have the problems in the parts, hoses, whatever I have said. those problems are not going to occur in them. But there will be a fall in the efficiency,
The
which will be
mileage.
5 to 6 mileage. Yeah. But when I say E20 compatible and fine tuned, even in those vehicles, even the efficiency loss will be very less. It might be in the range of 1 to 2%. So these are two types of different vehicles. Now coming back to your question about the strong hybrids, or the hybrids, so to say, though those vehicles are which are being produced after April 2023, those are E20 compatible. So those vehicles are not going to have any issues as far as the E20 is concerned. But the vehicles prior to that have different say altogether, which I talked about, the type of issues which might happen in those vehicles. But after 2023, whatever vehicles have come, those are E20 compatible. Those vehicles are not going to have any issues. Uh,
But
Even
these
if there is an
E20
efficiency
compatible and
loss.
E20 optimized, I mean, what is the difference for the ordinary owner? Because, I mean, these are terms that we understand as somebody who covers and reports on automotive, interacts with the OEMs. And but for somebody who's reading the terminology, what is the difference between compatibility and optimization? If you can just throw a
So
little bit light on that.
So when you say optimized, that means even if you are putting up a fuel, we know that ethanol has a lower overall efficiency compared to the gasoline. So if your vehicle is compatible with the E20, that means you can put the E20 in your vehicle, but there will not be any part related issues. The issues which I talked about, that there will be issues with your gaskets and VR and all those things. Those issues will not be there if it is compatible. If it is optimized and the fine tuned E20 vehicle, E20 fine tuned vehicle, then that efficiency loss will also be lesser. So let's say if it is
Okay.
5 to 6% efficiency loss in E20 compatible vehicle, but if it is optimized or fine tuned, then that loss will be 1 to 2%. That efficiency loss will also come down. So this is generally the main difference between these two types of vehicles.
But sir, very simple, very consumer-like question. I'm having a 21, 22 vehicle. What should I do? I mean, I'm facing, say, a mileage challenge. I have not really gone I mean, lazy to go to my dealership and maybe to check if the optimization has been done, or if that what is the state of health of my gaskets or my hoses. And say if I go there and say, look, this gasket hoses need a refresh, which tells me that I will have to incur that cost maybe frequently. I don't know, depending upon my usage. So I think, do you think at least our readers or people whom would advise them to actually now go to the used car market because and sell the vehicle and maybe switch to a EV or to a turbo booster CNG, which is also has a petrol kind of model, because those models really are huge in demand today. So, what do you think we should be doing?
Amit, you have asked many questions in this. One question is, right, if you have the older vehicles, whether you should go and figure out whether it has to be fine-tuned or not, why your mileage is going down, and how vulnerable your current vehicle is. I think I want to broaden this discussion to even the two-wheelers also, right?
Yes.
So let me take it one by one. Why your mileage? I mean, why this impacts the overall efficiency? Whether it is real, it is expected, or it is bounded. As I already told, that ethanol carries roughly 30 to 35% less energy per liter than petrol. So a 20% blend has around 6 to 7% less energy per liter than E0, and about 3% less than E10, right? This is the
Yes.
basic
Yes.
thermodynamics which
Yes.
nobody can hide, right?
Yes.
What partly offsets this is octane. Ethanol's octane number is RON number is 108.
Okay.
So modern engine, when I talked about the ECU and also modern engine with NOx sensors, uh, if it ignites on time, higher octane blend, and so engine actually calibrated for E20, it claws back more. That means because RON number is higher, all the efficiency is 6 to 7% lower. That's why I said that if it is optimized, then 1 to 2% of the loss, right? In fact, the Niti Aayog roadmap of 2021, it says 6 to 7% loss for four-wheelers designed for E0 or calibrated for E10. In
Right.
them, 6 to 7%. It says 3 to 4% equivalent for two-wheelers and the 1 to 2% for four-wheelers which are designed for E10 and calibrated for E20. In that also there will be a loss. ARI's testing says E20 versus E10 found 5 to 6% in two-wheelers, 2 to 3% in four-wheelers. And in fact, ARA has come out in July, and I'm talking about this report in 2020 to 23, just
Yes,
after
sir.
the Niti Aayog roadmap. But in July 2026, ARA has come out with a statement on the validated vehicles. It says 2 to 6% in the lab. So, bigger, from 2% to 6% bigger number they are giving.
Yeah, it's a spike.
Ah. And in some of the older vehicles, some people have actually reported for non-compliant vehicles, it goes up to the 10% legacy models, which you are talking about, like older 90s or the vehicles which are almost at the verge of 10, between the 10 to 15 years or 15 to 20 years with the extended fitness certificate. So definitely in them, it might be in the range of 10%. But now, if I just talk about like older motorcycles or the scooters, whether they are more vulnerable or not, yes, they are going to be more vulnerable. Their carburetor will not stop working at 20%, but because of it measures the fuel and other things. But definitely, these vehicles are going to be impacted more in any case. Now, you also asked a question wherein you should take your vehicle and get it optimized, or you figure out whether it is optimized or not, whether it is compatible or not. Uh, I think this is something. One thing is, of course, you can see in the OEM booklet and or the owner's manual, or on the website, or you can actually take this from the service shops of these OEMs, uh, at what stage your vehicle is, whether it is E20 compatible or E20 tuned or not.
Right.
Both the
Right.
things, only these people can only tell me from the model perspective for the older vehicles.
But sir, in terms of the see, last time I was also at ARI, and I think about when the controversy as I was at its peak, you could see petrol. All that you could see on social media was that 50% is water and 50% is ethanol in that sense. So while all that was getting seen, ARI had a press conference and we were invited, and what they said was that, look, I mean, you go to the dealer and they'll be able to support you. But I really don't think that kind of support is available today. If my E20 vehicle is facing a problem and I go to a dealer and say, look, so nobody's going to compensate me. So somewhere the government's program has really hit the customer. It is impacting him, and then he does not have a solution. Like for example, even at the petrol pump today, they are looking to check adulteration, but then whether the fuel that's going in my car is really E20, there's no way to ascertain that. So do you see some kind of relief measure coming from the government side in the near term, which will otherwise what you will really see is a mass exodus of these vehicles going to the used car, and the prices will crash. I mean, today, if I'm able to sell my older car and see even a 2013, I own a Alto, 2013 Alto I own, and still in my thing. Today, still I will get about a lakh. But if there's a mass exodus of such older cars coming, I will not even be able to get half the price. So as a customer, I am really concerned.
Amit, your concern is not unfounded for sure, and many consumers have the same thing coming to their mind. What should we do? Well, if whether somebody is going to take measure of what is happening to my vehicle, it is because of E20 or because of something else. So the first thing which I would say, and you actually started with this, uh, at the petrol bunks, how the people will know what I'm getting. So as I told you, everybody is getting the E20 now.
Right.
So whatever you are going to fill, that is E20. Now the best thing which you can do and how you can actually corroborate with what you are observing in your vehicle and what actually happening in your vehicle is, uh, observing through. Let's say you do the first full tank from the same petrol bunks again and again, and
Right,
then
right.
also the issues are happening in your vehicle. Definitely those has to be related directly to the because of the E20, those issues are happening.
That is a trigger for me to understand that look, my vehicle is giving me trouble again and again, so I'm having an E20 related issue, and I have to immediately go and try and resolve it by going to a authorized dealership and asking them to check my vehicle thoroughly. Right,
Correct, correct. So this is, but it cannot be that the first instance this can happen, because in the first instance it is possible that this is because of the tuning issue, because of the water ingress at the pumps, or something might have happened. But if it is happening two times, three times repeatedly from the same bunk you are filling it, definitely those can be attributed to the E20 for sure,
right,
right? That is something which can be. And let's say your car starts misfiring even after fill. Those are the things which can be directly attributable to the issues with the E20. Now, uh, there are a few things how you can actually figure out that should I need to change, or how you need to upkeep with your vehicle. So, if you have the, as you rightly said, the older vehicle, the concern is fuel aging and the water, right? So, ethanol is hygroscopic, it attracts the water. But a humid monsoon afternoon does not put water into the sealed tank if the tank is sealed. That
right,
claim
right,
that claim is not possible, right?
right,
Real risk is head space. Head space you have filled till like there is a space available. Condensation is a half empty tank over a long idle periods. Let's
right,
say poor sealing cap or the contaminated fuel to begin with. So the practical rules are don't leave a rarely used vehicle sitting with old petrol for months,
right,
because then if there is a headspace, then that is where the condensation can happen, and
right,
that might be, of course, because of the E20 the condensation is happening. If it will sit, keep the tank reasonably full to reduce that headspace.
right, right,
60,
right,
I would say 60% or more. Second, keep the fuel cap and the seals in good conditions. Attend to any fuel smell or the seepage immediately. Uh, no special thing for the monsoon, I would say, but above things which I said should be the one which will be followed, And additives perspective, only add what vehicle manufacturer recommends.
acha,
OMC validated water compatibility additive. They exist, and they have a legitimate role for stored or infrequently used vehicles. This the ethanol cure. That many people are selling on social media.
yes,
This is a
yes, I was going to
different.
come to that.
That's a
Thank you for
different
bringing it
thing.
up. Thank you for bringing it up.
That's a different thing. Unknown chemistry into a BS6 fuel and emission system. That's really going to create a problem, which it claims to solve.
So you need to be, you shouldn't be believing all what the D2C brands are telling you on Instagram or on
Uh,
Facebook that, you buy this additive and this will solve your E20 problem.
Yeah, lot of content is there, but only follow what OMC validated water compatibility additives, which they are recommending, and of course follow these two three things for the older vehicles.
Right, right, right. But you still now haven't answered my question. Should I go and sell my 2013 Alto? I'm asking you as a consumer, as a friend. Should I keep my car or should I sell it? I mean, today if I sell it, I'll still get a lakh. But maybe 2 years down the line, if the market starts to crash, the used car market starts to crash, then I mean, So do you think that the used car market will crash in for older petrol vehicles?
So two questions. One is should you sell your older vehicle? I would say no, because see the reason is this will be a distress sell. The type of money which you will get as of now, or after using, let's say, another 4 to 5 to 7 or 8 years, uh, that because it's a finally it's this asset is depreciating asset. You're not going to
Completely.
get more money unless it's a extremely high end vehicle. It's a depreciating asset. So I give you an example that my parents also have a vehicle which is BS4. right?
Right.
And we have also started seeing, we do the same thing, that from the same petrol bunks completely full and all those things. But we have also seen the reduction in the fuel efficiency. Fuel efficiency has actually reduced considerably. It has reduced because it's a very old vehicle. Like it's almost like 16 years. Recently, we got its fitness certificate also done, but we haven't sold it. So I won't advise to sell it, but of course,
Thank
be
you.
wary
Thank
of
you.
certain situations.
Thank you.
And but if you drive a lot, let's say daily you are driving 50, 80, 100, 200 kilometers, and so, and then the drop in efficiency of 5 to 6% is going to impact you a lot. And if that is something which varies you a lot, then I would say, okay, switch to the E21 or the EV one. But if it is somewhere 20, 30, 35 kilometers or 40 kilometers per day, I don't think this much reduction in the fuel efficiency of 2 to 3 kilometers per liter is going to impact a lot, and you do a distress sell. Uh, you asked the second question whether the market is going to, explode
Crash.
because crash or explode because of the so many incoming vehicles of this nature. I would say no, because we have 75, 80 million vehicles available on road, which are the older ones, and people are not going to do that type of distress sales unless, let's say in areas like Delhi and others, wherein they said beyond 10 years I'm not going to give you the fitness certificate. Those
Yeah, the
vehicles will
government
also go to
regulation
the.
drives it, that way.
Yes, other, if only if the mandate decides that you cannot even drive your vehicle at all.
Right, right.
So this type of situation is not going to happen. Only thing which I think the government has also said in the parliament, and which will remain, is that at least for the next three policy cycles, this E20 remains the E20, not goes beyond that.
Well, very difficult to catch you otherwise, Nandir. But now the fact that you are with us, I'm going to be asking some related questions that maybe consumers are considering today. What's a good bet? Is EV a good bet or a CNG a good bet today? And somebody who's definitely wanting to move on from his vehicle, or first time considering vehicle. The latest trends channel checks tell me that, as I said before, that there is a drop in the demand for petrol vehicles and the customers' concern. So I think, is EV a good bet? And B, what do you think about BAS? I mean, does BAS will battery as a service today? Yesterday, Mahindra has put battery as a service for all its EVs today, and I think that they've taken off 8 lakh rupees. But also, there are some riders to it that you have to drive minimum 60 kilometers for 3.75. So maybe you can just educate our viewers a little bit about the EV India that's going to be coming ahead, or the CNG India, or and how battery as a service basically, is it a good buy, or you should actually buy a vehicle which has got the battery in it and maybe pay a higher
Okay.
price.
So, see, from the, not only EV enthusiast, but a good proponent for the EV, I would say definitely if you want 100% certainty for 3, 4, 5 policy cycles, go for an EV. And if you are a city driver, or even for the four-wheelers driver, TCO actually makes sense now. So from that perspective, and the vehicles which are now available in the market are very, very good. EVs specifically, I'm talking about. But don't buy an EV because you're frightened of E20. Buy an
Okay.
EV where the numbers work. But
Okay.
if you buy petrol, buy something explicitly built for E20 and fine-tuned for E20. That is something for the person who are going to buy the new vehicle can do. Right,
Okay.
this is one thing I can say. As far as the two wheelers are concerned, I think already the sales is very, very high. 20% plus penetration has reached. Vehicles at a very good price are available with a very good range. So that is the market which is already at the inflection point, and is being
Yes. Yes.
shifted, is that market has already shifted towards the EVs. Uh, uh, you also asked the another question. What was that?
Well, the question was that battery as a service. I mean,
Battery
today,
as a service.
yeah,
Yes.
like a 20 lakh Mahindra, say,
Best. Yeah.
9S is now available to me at an entry price of say 13 lakhs, or I'm 7 lakhs I'm saving up front. So should
Correct.
you actually go for a BAS product? And what is your opinion on about the existing BAS schemes that companies are offering right now?
So I think the Windsor was the first winning business case as far as the best offerings are concerned for the four wheelers in India, and it has been adopted by the customers really quick. And now we are seeing other companies also coming into the same foray. You know, battery is now around 30 to 35% of the total vehicle cost, and battery is the part which consumers don't know about anything. What is going to happen to the battery 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line? Whether the technology is going to remain same, whether the battery is in best of its health or not, how much money I need to pay if I need to change the battery and all these questions goes away when you buy the vehicle with the best. You are not the owner. You are just paying per kilometer money. And in
Completely.
fact, and some of the OEMs, including the Mahindra as well as the MG, they are also offering 1 year free charging at
Charging along with it. Yes.
all of their compatible outlets. So that means 1 year of free fuel for whatever kilometer you are driving. Plus the technology, the changes in the battery, the replacement of the battery, you are not worried about those parts. So that is why, and upfront cost goes down. Upfront
Completely.
cost goes down completely. So those are the aspects which actually favors for the battery as a service BaaS model. But there are certain people who wants to own the asset, completely own the asset. They want to have the control on the asset. How they don't use the vehicle as much, right? If you are not using your vehicle too much, if you want to own the asset, if you want to have a control on your asset, that is where you want to have the ownership, and you buy the complete vehicle, including the battery. And so the numbers, I would say, are still in the favor of the people who are actually buying the complete vehicle without giving up the ownership of 30% of the total value of your vehicle. What will happen if you sell your vehicle? This gives you the flexibility if you are going to sell your vehicle to somebody else, whether they want to you because if you have a BaaS, battery as a service, you need to figure out somebody, if you are going to sell your vehicle, who is also okay to use the vehicle in the
Comfortable.
BaaS model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's handshake can happen very easily, where the next buyer also is very happy that he's able to buy a higher grade vehicle with a lower entry point price, and then he's comfortable paying. But I think just 2 more minutes, and I'm going to open up for questions. But I'm going to, I'm really tempted to ask you that MG has launched the PHEV, the mass market PHEV, and there's also going to be a range extender coming, which will have 100% battery and a gasoline engine. I mean, what's your view on PHEVs or range extenders? Do you think there is democratization ability available for PHEVs to become more mass market, like what MG is trying to do? Or, uh, I mean, where the range anxiety goes away, because then you are able to use 100, kind of battery on a normal petrol engine. So again, then E20 will definitely come and worry some of the guys who are there. But just as a view, as a perspective, you can share with our readers, and we'll quickly cut into the Q&A after that.
PHEV is definitely a yes from my side. I think not the hybrids, not the strong hybrid or the moderate. I mean, those are all just the buzzwords, unnecessary words. But the PHEV is plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which comes very close to the EV. You have the external port with the bigger battery size of, let's say, 40, 50, 60 kilowatt hour. Those are the vehicles which comes closer to the EV. I think a big yes to them. And definitely all of those engines are E20 compatible, which are being offered in the market now. But we don't have the PHEV options available in India. Who is giving the PHEV? If some people comes out with the PHEV, I think I have full support to them, and that would be something which will be very, very good. We have seen in the developed markets, lot of PHEV options are there. In China, a lot of PHEV options are there. Japan options are there. US and the Western market, lot of PHEV options are there. Netherlands and all. They have a lot of PHEV options, but we have no PHEV option at all. Either people are selling the gasoline vehicles with the name of the hybrid, strong hybrid, or the mild hybrid, putting up a very small battery and saying that this is also the EV, which is not the case. But the actual EV is BEV. So we have two extremes available. But the PHEV is something which is not being offered as of now. But if it comes, it would be really, really good. And I don't think a consumer needs to worry about the E20 at least in
Right, right.
those
And
vehicles also.
and what about range extenders? And then I'll cut into the first question. Do you think the
Range ex
Indian market has opportunity for range extenders to come and actually play an important role in the overall EV cycle?
So within the four wheelers, I think that's a tough bet as far as the India is concerned. We even don't have the battery swapping available for the four wheelers as of now. There are certain startups who are working for the four wheelers, very, very small ones, like a nano vehicle, wherein they want to do the battery swapping. Until unless that particular thing comes up, putting up the range extender, I don't think is going to be a feasible solution. Because overall in a vehicle, whatever space you want, every inch, every cubic centimeter area is like a real estate, and everybody wants to make a maximum utilization of that. So I don't think that is something which will be coming to India or will be adopted in India anytime soon, as far as the four wheelers are concerned.
Right,
Two
right.
wheelers and the three wheelers, yes.
Okay. And now I'm going to cut into the first question. I think we have Santosh with us. And what Santosh is really asking me is that is ethanol truly helping to save dollar-based oil purchases from global market? Is there a lower efficiency than what we should be doing? I mean, and then why are we buying more oil to make up for E20's lower fuel efficiency? So that's what Santosh is asking. Maybe you can respond to Santosh's question, Randeep.
Yeah, this is a very, very natural question that we will, if we are mixing a fuel, 20% of the fuel. So, but I said there are two aspects. One aspect is E20 has a lower fuel efficiency is fine, but it has a higher RON number. And if your vehicle is compatible and tuned to E20, then the impact of your efficiency goes 1 to 2% instead of 6 to 7%. So you are still saving around 4 to 5% of the total fuel which will be imported, going by the same logic. Only
Right.
thing is that only thing is it should be E20 compatible or fine tuned. In that case, only it will be the one where the maximum savings you can have. And of course, from the cash flow perspective, in the short term, definitely again this will be a big impact.
Right, right. But he's also asking that I mean, why are we buying more oil to make up? I mean, do you think government's decision on E20 is right in today's parlance? I think that's what he's trying to hint us that, I mean, today we are buying more ethanol at a higher price just to do the blending. And secondly, it's also leading to what Dilshad is telling me that the sugar price is going up. And does that have any connection with E20? I mean, so probably what our viewers are questioning that has the government done the right decision by doing E20 blending? That's what maybe you can help us answer both.
So, I mean, whether government has done right or wrong is something which I cannot comment, but I can give you my opinion. My opinion is, I think it's too early for all the pumps to have the E20 as of now,
Okay.
because our target was 2030 and we are preponing by 5 years when the vehicles are not all the vehicles are ready. You don't have all the vehicle, and that's why this all the discussion is happening. I have written many articles also on that. So currently, not all the vehicles are. So I think it's a this decision to have only E20 available at all the bunks is a bit of a premature. And partially, this question is also right that definitely we have to compensate for certain around 1 to 2% of the dip which is happening because of the efficiency, and we are buying that much percentage of the more more oil from outside. Uh, Having said that, now specifically about the sugar prices, I think that is something which, as of now, cannot be related to the E20 blending.
E20.
That is, yeah, currently that cannot be related. I think, as far as whatever I have read with the E20, in the future, if we increase it and if we decide that let us have it in the entire country, everywhere the same thing, and the usage increases, uh, there's something called the coeb effect, wherein people start producing something which has a more price, and then if there is a more price, then a market fills up along with the same component, and then the prices crash. The same thing is with the sugarcane also, which might happen in the long run. So as of now, I don't think this could be the reason.
Okay, okay. And I think we were talking about BAS, and we're also having some questions on BAS. And I mean, that's I mean, what Santosh is asking us is that will BAS really mean that every car will lose the opportunity to do its design as it deems fit with BAS? Then every car will have to comply with distinctive design norms. What BAS and design? Do you see any relation?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Battery as a service has a lot of things as far as the design is concerned. You know, because so there are two aspects. One aspect is where battery as a service with a fixed battery as a service with the swapping battery. If battery as a service with the batteries with the swappable battery we are talking about, then it's a totally different design altogether, wherein your connectors are going to be different, because every time you are going to take out the battery, put up the battery, so the connectors in your battery as well as the within the vehicle will be totally different. Those needs to be with the more number of cycles they should be tuned to. But when we talk about the BAS, wherein the battery is fixed, in that case, the design part is not going to be very, very tricky. It's going to remain more or less the same. The only part which is going to be tricky is the what would I say? The control on the battery components as is concerned. In case it's a BAS battery, then the control on the battery components, or how the battery function, how the battery behaves, when the battery needs to be changed, when the cell balancing has to happen, all those things will be more with the OEM. OEM would be more worried about the health, the SOH, the cell balancing and other aspects of the battery, the deterioration, the velocity of the deterioration of the battery. But when you own the battery, it's a less of the concern of the OEM, but more of your concern. When
Yes.
after how many fast charges you have to do the slow charge, how many slow charges should happen, what is the maximum fast charge, what is the C rate your battery can take, all those will be your concern. But when it comes to the BAS, it will be the concern of the OEM. And OEM, the software package as well as the hardware components will actually take care of those parts.
Right, right, right. I think the question is that I think there's a gentleman who's asking us a question. When you talk about cars, can you also throw light on the two-wheeler industry, whether we will see increased motor vehicle prices to companies innovating or spending more time to get back bikes optimized mileage for E20? I mean, I think R&D within OEMs is already doing a lot of work on E20, and maybe you can throw a little bit light on that.
I think that impact, that was a very, very minor impact. And if you go back and see the prices, increase in the prices in 2023, that has already been captured, right? So now, when we are talking as of now, I don't think only because of the E20 there will be any increase in prices, only because of the fine tuning for the E20. There will not be any specific price increase as far as I understand or I know, only because whatever they are selling right now is E20 compatible and the fine tuned. Both the things are there.
Right, right. And
But
then
older
Swaroop also,
vehicles, if you want,
yeah.
yeah,
No, no, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. You complete
yeah,
your
yeah.
point.
Yeah, so from 2023 afterwards, no price increase because of the E20, specific to the E20, because they want to fine tune, because all the vehicles whatever is being sold are E20 compatible and fine tuned.
Right, right. And what about two wheelers?
Two
And
wheelers. Two
Swaroop is
wheelers.
asking me,
Yes.
will the cost of new bikes go up as companies make mileage more mileage efficient for E20? I mean, he's asking whether the cost of the bike will increase because companies have to get more fuel efficiency for E20, and will they pass on the R&D or the additional manufacturing cost to the consumers? That's the concern that Swaroop is having.
In fact, the concern should be not about the E20, should be about the cafe norms.
Right,
When we talk about the efficiency. So the company is spending to meet the cafe norms will definitely built in some cost component which will be passed on to the consumers
right,
because of the cafe norms, not specific to the E20. Again, you should not confuse efficiency with, because they are increasing the efficiency to meet the so that the E20 compatible vehicles should also meet the E0 or E15 or E10 vehicle efficiency. No, not because of that, but because of the CAFE norms. So the companies has to increase the efficiencies, meet those goals, meets those components list to increase the overall mileage because of that, and whatever cost is going to incur, uh, I think this will be passed on to the consumers only finally, but not specific to the E20.
right, right, right. I think I think we have one more question, but before that, I want to just generally talk to you and understand that whatever you have said, India has very compelling reasons for ethanol, energy security, lower crude oil imports, a domestic biofuel economy, and but at the end of the day, for the consumer, uh, I mean, what do you think it is there? I mean, India's fuel specification changes, and what protection does the customer have today from E20? And from this platform, what you'd like to tell maybe also the government or the authorities that are there, maybe somebody will be listening to us as what kind of protection does or what kind of security does the customer needs to be embedded now that maybe moving forward, and then we'll go to the final question.
Uh, I think partly this question has been answered by Minister of State, wherein he said that government as of now is not thinking about of increasing E20 to anything else until unless
Right.
all stakeholders and and the OEMs and other people are on board. This is one assurance I can say, but of course it is one policy cycle, as I said clearly, because you don't know after 3 years, 4 years, or the 5 years, if the government changes or the same government comes out with something else. So from that perspective, I don't think there is any assurance that E25 or E22 or E27 is not going to come. I don't think I can make that comment. But overall, I think as of now, the vehicles which are being sold and the people who are going to buy the new vehicles, they should not be worried about whether I should go for petrol or not because of the E20. No, not at all. If you want to have, if your requirement says you should have the petrol vehicle, please go for it. If your requirement says I want to go for the EV, please go for it. There's no issues as of now. All these things which worries people are for the older vehicles only.
Right. I think final question, and before we wrap up today's very interesting conversation, we have discussed almost every aspect of it, and I think we also veered up a little bit from E20 to also what's happening outside. But I think the question is that should government bring in standards for all EV for charging? Each company cannot have its own standard just to lock in customers. I think he must be mentioning more about the two-wheeler side because CCS2 is more prevalent for cars. But still, you being the architect of EV charging, so maybe a little bit about what the question is and what is the future for EV charging in India for two wheelers. Interoperability is an issue for two wheelers, so maybe a little word on that too.
So I think the question what they want to say, I think what I understand is about the connectors is what they wanted to ask.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
so there are two aspects. One is the mandate part and one is the specifications part. As far the specifications part is concerned, 17,000 series of BIS deals only with the uh, charging standard across all types of vehicles, 17,000 series, entire series. Now, when it comes to adoption of the connectors, which is the CCS2 and the Shadow More earlier for the four wheelers was, and almost everybody has shifted to the CCS2 because of the increase in the voltage, and also there is a possibility of increasing it further. But when it comes to the two wheelers, it remains a point of contention, although the standard which rotates around the ethers connector has also been published, but it is not being mandated. Having said that, you know, at this stage, I think mandating the charging connector, not the standard,
Yes,
managing the, yeah, mandating
charging
that
connector.
would, yeah, would actually hinder the lot of innovation. That this is the only one which you can do, because architecture is moving towards the higher voltage,
Right,
and you never know at what voltage this architecture is going to stop.
right,
So no one producer, manufacturer actually has the specifications which can actually meet, let's say, 800 volt tomorrow. Although I know for the two wheeler case, this is something a long bat. But if somebody wants to build that sort of thing, for example, let's say Ultraviolet has come out with the CCS2 in the two wheeler,
yes,
right? Because they want to work on the higher voltage.
right,
So mandating this for the two wheelers as of now, I don't think makes sense. But mandating it for the mandating the connectors which goes for the battery swapping actually makes sense because of
okay,
the interoperability, wherein
right.
the consumers is the one who suffers a lot if this interoperability is not there.
Right, right. And finally, before we thank you for your valuable time and for talking to BL Conversations, one broad thing I was very curious to ask you is about where do you see India's auto industry going from now? I mean, today we are seeing a sharp spike. The demand is still strong. You can see the waiting periods are increasing for two wheelers, also for cars, and the festive season has not even yet started. So I think. Uh, are we going to see another big record year coming despite the input cost hike, West Asia crisis? So many factors that were there, and people thought that the industry will slow down, but this seems to be unstoppable.
See, Amit, as far as the four wheelers are concerned, industry is moving near to the, earlier it was maximum sub 10 lakh vehicles, and now around 10 lakhs or more. That is where the industry is moving, and adoption is increasing because in the people are coming out from the lower strata to the, the the medium strata to the upper strata and all. That is why the buying capacity of the people has increased. So as far as the four wheeler is concerned, we also have very low penetration per vehicle in our country. So this is something which is going to increase. As far as the two wheeler is concerned, we will see lot of adoption as from the, the mid EV segment, which is 80-90,000, to even the higher EV segment is concerned, because people have now a lot of confidence. So this particular market is also going to increase as of now. Three wheeler is already now almost 100% EV. Everybody, whomsoever is buying, is the EV part. We will see now adoption increase in buses as well as the commercial vehicle segment also. That is
And
also the
trucks,
place
electric
where,
trucks also, electric
right,
trucks also.
commercial.
No? Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
So the commercial vehicle size. So that's what I say. That is also, although the TCO currently doesn't make sense there, but because of the different types of business models like the leasing, because of the financing options and all, and of course the cafe norms. Because of all
Yeah,
those things, the
yeah.
adoption is going to increase those sides also. Overall, looking at the automotive market, I think India currently has a very low penetration, and this penetration is definitely going to increase.
Right, right, right. Great, Randir. I would have loved to spend more time and keep on chatting, but I must stay. I'm going to stay on this public platform. We're going to have you soon back with us very shortly, and more and more interesting issues. That I actually thank all our readers and all our subscribers of Hindu Business Line who have been also been quite prolific in their questions. I really thank you for listening to us to BL Conversations, and Very soon we'll have more and more interesting things that are concerning you, and we'll have Randhir and lot many more experts coming to us and discussing the way forward. Thank you so much, Randhir. Thank you so much for talking to us. I wish you a good day, and we'll meet very soon, maybe, and it'll be very interesting to have a more enlightened discussion with you. Thank you, our readers. Thank you, our subscribers. And this is Amit Moile, Deputy Editor in the Business Line from the Mumbai Bureau, signing off. Thank you. Have a good day. See you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.